It is time for another tournament run, and the character of choice today is Toon Link. For this, I attended TNJ Tuesday number 17, which had 43 attendees. I feel like this tournament series gets bigger and bigger. I really like this development. More players means a harder time in the tournament, and this is always exciting. As most of the time, I had to start in winners round 2, but in this case, I didn't have to wait, because one opponent in winners round 1 DQ'd and my opponent, taking 1, moved over to winners round 2, where we had to face each other. Let's do this. Winners round 2 against Taking 1. Taking 1 plays Rob, and we started on Town and City, which is in my opinion a good stage for Toon Link due to his great kill power off the side with his forward air and F smash. I had a pretty rough start in the beginning and wasn't really ready for the Rob, but managed to find the first stock, and overall it was a pretty even game from the very get-go. Toon Link vs Rob can be kinda weird sometimes, because both characters have projectiles that we want to throw at each other, and it's hard to find a way in. The beginning of this game was rough, but I was able to end it with a 2-stock lead against Taking 1. Game 2, Taking 1 switched to Wolf and picked Pokemon Stadium 2 as a stage. I have to admit to everybody, usually I try to hype up every game, but it is just impossible for me to do it here. As you can see, this match was a total campfest and we both just threw our projectiles. I thought that Toon Link vs Rob is tough, but Wolf was even weirder. This whole game boiled down to both of us hitting each other with projectiles, getting a little bit of chip damage in until finally somebody finds a stock. This match took 5.5 minutes, and at the end, Taking 1 took the game, and it was 1-1 in this winners round 2. Game 3, Taking 1 switched their character again to random? Yes, you heard me correctly. They switched to random and got potentially the worst character ever against Toon Link. It was my time to pick the stage, and I chose Hollow Bastion. Needless to say, this matchup is total ass for Donkey Kong, and it's tough for DK to close the gap and find a way in. However, I was so flabbergasted by the random pick and DK that I even lost my stock first. Do you know the feeling when you encounter something you didn't expect and it's hard to adapt to it? That's what I was feeling in that moment, and that's probably what everybody felt in my last tournament run, where I went random solo characters. But it only took my first stock to pull myself together, and at the end I finished this game with another 2 stock. GG's to Taking 1. That was an interesting set. Why would you switch? That doesn't make sense. I'm super confused, okay? We take those. Maybe he's spinning the wheel as well, I don't know. And with this, I advanced into Winners Round 3, where I faced Blessy, a Zero Suit Samus main. Winners Round 3 against Blessy. Blessy is a Zero Suit Samus main, and we started on Pokemon Starter Stadium 2. The Toon Link vs Zero Suit Samus matchup is a very interesting one. Usually, Zero Suit likes to play against floaty characters because of her juggling abilities and her Sair to keep the opponents out. But I have my projectiles, which I can use to keep Zero Suit out. I dished out a lot of percent during the second stock of Blessy, but I've noticed a huge problem in my gameplay very early. Okay, so far I struggled to take stocks in this entire tournament. There we go. You can rack up as much damage as you want, but if you can't take the stock, it means nothing. At the end, one fair combo was all I needed to take game 1, but I definitely had to fix this kill issue. It shouldn't take this long to take the stocks, honestly. Like, that's my B. Game 2, Blessy switched it up and picked Ness as a character on Small Battlefield. Now we have a floaty character versus a floaty character. Due to Ness's Psy Magnet, I cannot really use my bombs. Otherwise, Blessy would heal a ton. But this doesn't mean I can't use them at all. It's more about finding the right opportunities and making your opponent guess if you throw it or just C-drop it. Also, in the beginning of a new stock, you are free to spam it, because Ness can't heal, he hasn't received any damage. I was already in a huge lead, and this time it seemed like Blessy is the one who has kill problems. And I survived for a long amount of time. Only the weak kid? Oh my god, okay, there was streamer plot armor. I should have died like 5 times already. I honestly feel more confident in the Ness matchup as Toon Link, and it definitely shows as I end the set with 1 more forward air. GG's to Blessy. I need to take more fair stocks, because they killed under 100%. Now I was in Winner's Quarter, and my next opponent was Tracked, a Terry and King Dedede dual main. Winner's Quarter against Tracked. It is very rare that I want to go on Final Destination, but my opponent is Terry, and I rather fight on a flat stage than with platforms, because I think Terry is much more dangerous with platforms, but this always depends on the player, of course. Usually what I do versus Terry is try to use my range and projectiles to my advantage to keep Terry out of my comfort zone. It is a character who explodes in your face when he's close, and I definitely want to prevent that. And Toon Link has just enough range to do that. Also, when playing against Terry, I make sure to harass him when he is at disadvantage, because that's Terry's weak spot, and boy did I manage to keep him in disadvantage. The first game was over quickly after only 1.5 minutes, and I won with a 3 stock. The thing is, Terry kinda has to recover with a side B or with back B. I didn't think I would 3-stock, let's say that. But I got the good stocks. I got the Terry matchup down. I think that's gonna be a switch to DDD though. Game 2, Trek switched to King DDD, which is understandable, because the Terry didn't work out at all. But Trek kept Final Destination as a stage pick. DDD is always such a weird character for me, because on the surface it seems like Toon Link should dominate him, but it is so hard to bring him down. DDD survives for such a long time due to his weight, and it can get frustrating at points when a move just doesn't kill at 180% or even higher. This match definitely worked better for Trek already, and we both found ourselves on our last stock. And there were many dicey situations like a jet hammer on the ledge, where I could have easily lost the stock early compared to DDD. But I pulled through and ended the game and said with one more fair. GG's to Trek. Oh, there we go. That took long at the end. Also, look at my damage given, this is insane. After this set, I had to fight Sam PvP, a Meta Knight main, in Winner's Semi. Winner's Semi against Sam PvP. From now on, everything is a best of 5 in this tournament. Sam is a Meta Knight main and we went on Hollow Bastion. Personally, I have not a lot of experience in the Meta Knight matchup, but I guess that Meta Knight likes floaty characters due to his up air chains that can kill you off the top with a up B finisher. But at the same time, Toon Link is pretty tiny and has good moves to keep Meta Knight out with his limited neutral game. Game 1 was pretty weird overall because everybody just spaghettied all over the place and we both died to each other because of a missed up special. This continued not only for the first 2 stocks, but also another stock. And it took very long until somebody of us actually found a legit stock. We both were on our last stocks and Sam found an opening to get me off stage and made an all or nothing move. Either the neutral B hits and they win, or it misses and I win. And this was the outcome. That match never happened. That was the most spaghetti match ever I have ever played in a tournament. I get the score, but it never happened, okay? Game 2, Sam decided to switch to Small Battlefield as a stage, which I personally think is a better stage for Meta Knight. You have the platforms on the left and right, and Small Battlefield also has a low ceiling, which makes up B kill earlier. Also, can I just say that this is the first set where we did not have a character switch so far? It's actually insane that there are so many players with dual mains or secondaries. Also, as you can see, the fumbles from both of us didn't really stop and it carried over from game 1 to game 2. I don't really know what was up with this set, but we both weren't in the game at all and we made some stupid mistakes. At the end, I was able to close out game 2 with one more up air, but we both really need to get back into the game. Game 3, Sam stick to Small Battlefield, which was in my opinion the right choice for them. You cannot really say that the stage was at fault. It was both of us who were at fault. But this time we finally played way better than in the previous matches and we didn't overextend like the last games. We both had our moments. Sam with the Meta Knight up air chains and me with, well, I hit bomb fair and stuff, so just tiny combos and chip damage basically. But overall it was the most competitive game so far in this set and a very even one at that. It seemed like Sam is slowly but surely making a comeback. But I also just needed one more good kill confirm to take the game. It was all about who hits first. And at the end, I got it with an up smash that barely hit Sam on the platform. GG's to Sam. Good adaptation from you. After this set, I moved over to Winner's Final, where I had to fight Lucha Litten, an Incineroar and Hero dual main. I mean, it's Incineroar. Incineroar is gonna kill me either way. I don't care. I just care for my stages more right now. Winner's Final against Lucha Litten. Lucha Litten plays Incineroar and Hero, but this entire tournament he went Incineroar only, which should be honestly better for me as Toon Link. Incineroar is not really the fastest character and I can keep him out pretty well. Lucha Litten was also once on the German power ranking on the 20th place and is a very good player overall. So I knew from the very get-go that this is gonna be a tough set for me. The first game was very funny because it was a constant back and forth. It always seemed like somebody has the lead just for the other one to make a comeback immediately afterwards. It seemed like we were playing a Pokemon battle and just used our moves against each other until somebody fainted. Pretty fitting for Incineroar, honestly. It was a very close battle, but at the end I was able to take game 1. What was that match? That match was so funny. That was the most uneven match I have ever seen. Game 2 we went again on Town and City. As said previously, it is a very good stage for Toon Link, but it is also a good stage for Incineroar due to his kill power. But in my head I always thought that it doesn't matter which stage I go to. I have my projectiles and Lucha Litten is gonna use his revenge to power up his moves, which basically take my stock at any given point on any stage. So for me it didn't matter on which stage I go, it was more about giving Toon Link a good stage to play on. The cat is gonna kill me no matter where. this game looked way more in my favor, and you can already tell by the huge percent difference. I mean, the really huge percent difference. I just completely camped him out. Bro, I'm scared. But against Incineroar, it is never in your favor, because just a few hits can kill you. No! Oh, that's what. Oh, only. Okay. Right, that were 2 hits. It was a tough battle until the very end, but I finally took the stock at about 270%. This is not a killing with every move challenge, but it's a keep Incineroar out challenge. That almost killed me! Bro, I didn't want to go near you! Toon Link is a good matchup against Incineroar, but Incineroar always has revenge against Toon Link. Let's face it. I just told my girlfriend that if I scream, she shouldn't be worried, I'm just playing against Lucha-Litten. Game 3, Lucha-Litten decided to go on small battlefield, and just as the previous games, it was pretty even. But due to a missed fair, I lost my first stock to the Incineroar player, but I was also able to even it out pretty fast afterwards. The problem was just that I made a lot of bad mistakes at one point, like a missed grab during this game, and lost my stocks for it. So it was always about bringing the game back, and this is not how you win games, unfortunately. And at the end, one more unsafe boomerang was enough to lose game 3, and Lucha-Litten was still in the game and in the set. I gotta play ugly though, otherwise I'm just getting hit by 2 moves and I'm dead. Game 4, I decided to go on Town and City because so far this stage worked out pretty well in my favor and I won 2 games on it already. So why not pick it a 3rd time to bring the set home? And I quickly saw myself in a little lead, but not before Lucha-Litten answered back on his own with an insane parry into back near the ledge. We both had our shining moments during this game and we comboed and racked up more and more percent. The lead went back and forth until we finally found ourselves on our last stock, and then I made a very stupid mistake. I'm dead! I thought I'm in time! I was greedy! That was just me being stupid at the end. That was my B. Game 5 in a best of 5 scenario, and even though I got killed at about 50% last game on Town and City, I didn't think it was the stage's fault. It was my own fault for getting grabbed. Whoever wins this game moves forward into Grand Final. I was already 2-0 up in the lead during this entire set, and Lucha-Litten made an insane comeback and brought it back 2-2. Now it's all about who wins this game. All the previous games mean nothing if you lose. And Lucha-Litten was the first one to take the lead in this game 1, and I had problems of my own finding the kill again. But to be fair, I didn't want to lose my stock early as well, so I used a bunch of safe moves until I finally found a stock. And everything was looking rather even again until I made a huge mistake and jumped from the ledge, which Lucha-Litten saw coming and just dared me into the abyss. Now there was a whole stock difference between me and Lucha-Litten. I had to make a huge comeback and use Toon Link's kit to his advantage. And to my advantage, I took it and brought the whole game around to a kinda even situation. I didn't stop there and even brought myself into a good lead and launching Lucha-Litten offstage. But then he kicked me with a dash attack and I was in an offstage situation where Incineroar tried to take the stock aggressively but missed. I made it back on stage and threw my bomb, but then the biggest betrayal in anime history happened. My bomb's timer ran out and exploded too early, leading into a terrible situation which Lucha-Litten took full advantage of and finished my last stock with one more side B. No, I landed on the platform! Why? And with this, Lucha-Litten advanced into the Grand Final, and I had to play in Losers Final against Nomic, a Lucas player. Losers Final against Nomic. Nomic is a Lucas main and the first game started on Hollow Bastion. As with the NES matchup, against Lucas I have to watch out for my bomb usage, because the projectiles can quickly heal Lucas due to his Psy Magnet. Oh my god! Furthermore, Lucas has a Zero of his own, so in addition to that, I have to watch out for more ranged attacks than it was the case with Ness. I can say right away that this Lucas was insane to play against. This guy is moving, man. As you can see in this footage, Nomic has ridiculous movement with this character and played Lucas in a very fast way, which kinda overwhelmed me if I'm completely honest with you. It is not often that I encounter a player who can maneuver around with their character in such a fashion. And it was definitely awesome to see that. It was a very close game 1, but at the end, Nomic was able to take that and we moved on to game number 2. Damn, that Lucas is super clean when it comes to movement. For game 2, I decided to go on Pokemon Stadium 2 and I had to ask myself how I wanted to play against this Lucas player. Usually, you all know me as a more methodical player and if I see an opportunity to get a hit in, I take it and convert it into a combo. But I felt like this is not working against Nomic, because they are just moving all over me and way too fast. So there was only one way to win this game. Usually what most players would suggest would be to slow down the pace so you feel more comfortable playing the game and also to slow down your opponent. But I did the exact opposite. I increased my inputs and tried to match Nomic's gameplay speed. I felt like this was the only way how I can win in this match with a character like Toon Link. And my feeling was correct, because at the end I took game 2 and it was 1-1 in this best of 5. Not going down without a fight there. Game 3, Nomic decided to go on Smashville and now it started to become a very explosive set. I was able to get some huge hits and combos early on and fight myself into the lead by taking Nomic's stock. But shortly after, Nomic got an insane Lucas combo against my Toon Link and suddenly the whole game shifted again. I swear, good Lucas players are terrifying. They hit you one time and when the execution is on point, your stock is gone. It's just Kazuya with mommy issues and Lucas even has the same hairline. This game was as even as it can get and we just traded blows after blows until we found ourselves on our last stocks. This match decided to go into a lead in this best of 5 and one final move can decide everything. And it was my fair that decided the outcome of this match. Oh, this guy is playing super fast. Game 4, Nomic wanted to stay on Smashville, which is theoretically a good stage pick against me, but I didn't care too much about it. I found my openings, kept advantage very well, and was able to get the first stock with only 13% on my side. This game was already looking good and in my favor, but I knew I cannot slow down now, because if I slow down, Nomic is gonna overwhelm me again with their movement, and just one wrong decision on stage or off stage can already result in my stock loss. This whole set felt like I was not playing a character like Toon Link, but more like Sheik. It was a very exhausting set, and personally I cannot play like this for a long time. But for one set, it's definitely doable. This game looked like it was really going into my favor at the end, and I only needed one more grab into back throw to finally finish off game 4 and win the set. GG's to Nomic. That is the best Lucas I have ever fought, period. That was insane. Bro forced me to play fast as fuck. If I played slower, I would have lost that. I had to play so fast and be locked in, and now I had to face Luchalitten in Grand Finals again, and he was waiting for me with his Incineroar, and I was ready to take my revenge. Grand Final against Luchalitten. Game 1 started on small battlefield this time and not on Town and City. I thought I mixed it up for the start and try out a different stage to see what works better against Luchalitten. And even though it looked like an even match at the start, it quickly turned into Luchalitten's favor with one quick SD from my side. This didn't stop me though from bringing it back shortly after. Luchalitten found a revenge opening and was able to throw me offstage with a forward air, and he was even able to edge guard me. Unfortunately enough, I was in no position to tech the Nair and I barely missed the ledge and lost my stock for it. Luchalitten was already at 90% at this point and I knew I could bring it back. But I made a huge mistake which I got punished for already in the previous game. The jump from ledge. And with that, Luchalitten won game 1. I wanna try that. I wanna try Hollow. I don't care. Maybe it works better. If not, then we're going back to town or something. I don't know. Game 2, I picked Hollow Bastion. I still had one more counter pick to go and try out before we go on the all-reliable Town and City. I thought to myself, maybe this stage pick is working better and I better try it out now than later when I eventually lose the entire set. This game went quickly into Luchalitten's favor, but then I thought to myself that I don't want any of his lead and go for a cheesy bomb down air stock to equalize the entire game. Also, just a funny thing I want to point out, shortly after, my bomb saved me from Incineroar's side B and suddenly Incineroar got stuck in this pose. I love that so much. I'm honestly not proud of this game too, because not only did I take the first stock in a cheesy way, but on the second stock my up special didn't connect properly, which made Luchalitten SD. He probably thought he had to take the final up special hit, but it never connected. And through some cheesy stocks here and there, I was able to achieve victory in this game. But I was definitely not happy about this one. I did not deserve this win. Nah, that was definitely not the stage. Game 3, Luchalitten picked small battlefield as a stage. It was 1-1 now and the Incineroar player picked the stage he always won on so far in our sets. I can definitely see the vision here and the stage pick worked out wonders for him as he took my first stock, and even though I was able to equalize it pretty shortly after, Luchalitten was not slowing down and racked up more damage with his revenge into forward air and took my second stock shortly after with a forward tilt. Which is, by the way, one of the strongest tilts in the entire game. It is a ridiculous move. It took me ages to take the second stock off of Luchalitten and I already received so much percent that I had a huge mountain to climb. But this mountain was too much to overcome for me and Luchalitten won game 3. That was the weakest! Game 4, I decided to go on Town and City. I had no more time to go for any obscure stage picks and went on the stage I was the most comfortable with. It was 2-1 for Luchalitten in this set and he only had to win one more game to be the winner of this tournament. And I had to win this game to stay alive in this set. And alive did I stay, I can tell you this much. Not only did I get rid of Lucha Litton's first stock, but I also obliterated his second stock with a huge combo near the ledge. This stage is not only good for Incineroar, but also for Toon Link. This game was absolutely insane and I had a huge lead against Lucha Litton, and I would not stop there. Lucha Litton got into an offstage scenario, and with 3 stocks to 1 stock, there was only one option for me, going for a self-destruct down here, which won me game 4 with a 3 stock lead. That was super clean. But now it's Lucha Litton's counter pick. And I don't think we're going back to town. Lucha Litton went on small battlefield again. The game count was 2-2 in this set. Game 5 was the all-deciding match. Either Lucha Litton wins the entire tournament, or I force a bracket reset, and we have another best of 5 set to decide the winner of this tournament. I was starting off with a huge combo again in the beginning of this game, but you all know Incineroar. He only needs one revenge hit and suddenly you receive about 70 to 80% to make the game even again. And it was just enough to catapult Incineroar into a lead against my Toon Link. But I definitely know that I can get back into this game really quickly if I hit a kill confirm at Incineroar's current percent. Or so I thought. Now I'm getting cooked! My dear viewers, you remember how I 3-stocked Lucha Litton in game 4? Well, karma can be a... Fuck! I deserved it! I deserved it! GG's to Lucha Litton, that were some fun games, and congrats to the first place. GG's, that was funny. Oh man. What a hype ending though, I like that. Show those games separately to anybody and they would say that in game 4 I would win the set and in game 5 he would win the set. Nice tournament, thanks for hosting again. I hope you enjoyed today's tournament run. If so, feel free to like, share, comment and subscribe. And don't forget to check out the other channels, the Ball channel, the Eclipse channel and the VOD channel. All links are in the description. I see you all next time. I have to take a shower after this 33 stock. Have a good one, bye bye.